back, friends, or welcome if you're new. I'm very, very happy to have you here. This is a build that Patreon chose this month. You might know that I do a Patreon poll every month, and to celebrate Harry's spoon set that is finally finished this month, I was thinking I should do a commercial lot. So that's what this is. And funnily enough, I haven't used anything from Spoons Part 3, if I'm not mistaken. I know that's a little ridiculous, but before you tell me that this is not at all what you wanted, I'm already thinking of building something that properly appreciates this pack sometime in the future. So the problem is just that the items are very modern. So you're seeing right now that I am incorporating them. I love this window, like open windows that immediately got all my love. And I knew I was gonna put that in here. But okay, so the thing is, let me explain. I had this, I'm not even sure if it's a bookstore, but I had this picture saved that was just a door that you could look through. It was open, and then there was a display window, but the whole thing didn't really look like a shop. It looked more like a ground level, well, not an apartment either, because it didn't look like somebody was supposed to live there. And it was open, like you could just look in from the street and walk in from the street. So maybe it kind of felt like a storage room, but one that you could buy things from. Okay, so it was full of books, and they were not arranged in a bookstore sort of way. They were just lying around. It was very messy, and there were like boxes as if somebody was unloading something, or potentially there were just even more books in those cardboard boxes. And it was just, I don't know, it just spoke to me, and it was so charming and a little rundown, and that inspired me to build this. And I had saved that for quite some time, and I knew that it was not gonna make up a whole lot. Like, that wouldn't have made sense. It was very small, and I needed that small cozy vibe for it to make sense. So I figured I would put that next to one of my Parisian townhouses that I haven't actually done any Parisian townhouses properly, but I've built multiple houses in Brightchester that were inspired by Parisian Haussmannian architecture, and they were combined with a restaurant and a cafe. And I thought I might do another one and have this bookstore on, or like this, whatever it is, on the ground floor. And then I realized that it might actually be cute to combine it with a cafe/bakery. But listen, the other day I went through, I don't know, maybe I got a comment on an old video which led me to click on that video and read comments, and I realized that somebody had commented that they would like to see a cafe/bookstore. And now I'm not sure if it was my idea anymore. But however it went down, however it came to happen, I put that as one of the options in my Patreon poll, and it won with the biggest advance that any of my poll options has ever won. Let me check what the other options were. Patreon. Oh no, where is it? Yeah, I was very slow building this. Usually the very next build I do after I finish the poll is the winning option. But this time, I don't know, I was a little intimidated by this, I think. Also, the other options were a restaurant or a bakery. I was very content that this option won. If you've seen my latest 2 videos, then you might remember this, but I've been in a very, I guess, cozy mood lately, and I have very much enjoyed doing rather traditional, I'm gonna call them chaotic interiors, and I've really enjoyed placing lots of details and singular objects and lots of books, and yeah, just doing that type of charming build. And that picture just spoke to me so much that I felt as if I'd been there, and I was really hoping that I could get that across to you. So I've put lots of effort into placing these singular and not singular, admittedly, but definitely lots of singular books as well, and just making this feel as if it was overflowing with books, with the still kind of limited options that we have in The Sims. But I really enjoyed this part. I did use a lot of the tool mod to achieve this result, and every time I do that sort of thing, I am so grateful it exists. But yeah, in my mind, this build already had a story kind of spun around it before it was even built, and before I knew how exactly it was gonna look just from that one picture. So this particular corner is where I imagined this old man sitting, and brace yourselves because I'm gonna really get into this. For some reason this place has a story and it wants to be told. So I was thinking that this place was very well known by the local kids. You know how there's just places that every kid knows and like no adult talks about. It's just for some reason important to kids. So I thought that was that kind of place, and the old man sitting there, no one would ever see him anywhere else. He's basically tied to this bookstore. He's been there for as long as everyone can remember, and the kids like to look through the window and check out all the fun books and wander in sometimes, and except for them and maybe a tourist once a week, this place will be empty usually, and the kids, or some of the kids, maybe think the old man is grumpy because he doesn't really talk unless you talk to him first. Like he doesn't look as if he cares about anyone walking into the store. It's like the store is an extension of him anyways. Like it's not like he wants to sell anything in particular. So the kids wander in, and like if you ever make the effort to talk to him, you realize that he's actually really passionate about these books, and he'll notice that a kid is very interested in a book but maybe doesn't have the money to buy it, and then he'll just sneak it into his backpack and that sort of thing, you know? And maybe sometimes the kids will go next door and buy a macaron for him or some sort of pastry or whatever, and I'm way too much into this story. I don't know what's up with me. It must be the winter. But yeah, I'd love to imagine that place exists somewhere, and if not, then I've built it. Please feel free to use this in an entirely different way though, if you please. This should work as a bookstore, if I'm not mistaken. At least I've put the cash register in here. Otherwise, this could be purely decorative if that's what you'd like. The cafe next door is also fully functional as a cafe. And obviously, because that used all the new spoon things, and then some of Felix's Paris items, which were also cafe themed, at least in part. So I've uploaded this to the gallery as a cafe. Theoretically, it would be a pâtisserie, but as that, I think you'd have to make it a restaurant to actually choose what food is being sold. So I decided it probably made the most sense like this. But yeah, feel free to change it however it fits your play style best. Or maybe you just want to look at it in this beautiful world of Brightchester. Oh, this is where I thought I was done with the bookstore part, and then I looked at it through the door and I realized I wanted it to be harder to traverse. I wanted it to look like you had to half climb over boxes and books to get to your desired book or the bookshelves in the back. And the first few times you're in there, you'd always feel slightly bad because you might be stepping on some of the books and you think you feel his judgy looks in your back. And then after a few times you realize that he actually looks at you lovingly and maybe slightly worried that you're gonna trip and fall over all of the boxes, and that he is actually just really excited that you're so interested in the books and really you're willing to do this climb to get to the book that you like. You can tell that all the snow around me is not good for my mental health. I'm at a point where I imagine fictional old men. Maybe that's Santa Claus and he's trying to talk to me. That's his origin story. Oh boy, it's too late for me, I think. Although this whole story thing, this whole charming background that I've made up for this place inspired me to also do the video tour kind of like a story. Well, that might be overselling it a little bit, but I was trying to tell this story from the perspective of a person walking down the street. You'd see the place, walk up to it, look through those shop windows as I imagined the kids would always do on their way back home from school, and then it would draw you in there, and you'd go in and you'd look around and maybe you would rent yourself a book. So I thought he was probably lending the books out so you could sit down next door, grab a coffee, watch the people passing by on the street. Oh, by the way, this is where I forgot to record, so I'm doing this, how did Harry call it? A bootleg stop motion? That's what I'm doing here. Yeah, and then you check out the book, drink up your coffee, and maybe go back in to buy it, or give it back, or look through a few more of the very old books. Maybe he'd recommend something to you to read with your eclair. Am I possessed by this old man? Why do I keep talking about him? He's not real. Let me talk a little more about the items I've used here. So the wallpapers, or almost everything on the exterior, is from Felix's Paris set, and then a lot of the very important things are from Harry's spoon set. For example, these gorgeous food items, except of course for this little basket with bread that you will know from the kitchen, but everything else that you see in this cafe comes with the spoon set. And I really like this little display shelf area that I've made here because of this little touch. I've angled the shelves, and I thought that was really fancy and a really nice idea, and I was really glad that the food items, the little platters, actually just adjusted themselves automatically to the angle, I was so excited about that I posted a sneak peek to my Tumblr and then afterwards realized that you couldn't see that it was at an angle at all, but I still think it's really cool. So those 2 custom content packs are what you should definitely have if you want to download this. And the tiles on the floor also really add onto the beautiful aesthetic of this cafe. Those are from Felix's colonial set, so I recommend all of Harry's and Felix's stuff. If you've seen any of my videos, then this will be very repetitive to you. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I've enjoyed getting to use these new items so much. That espresso bar is gorgeous, and I love that we do not have to use those boring Max's ones anymore. So I really love this one. I love the little packages down there that look like little dessert curios. I love them so much. Beautiful, game-changing, absolutely game-changing, truly was for me at least. And it was so much fun to build it with all these new items. I just wanted to be there, and I felt like I could almost smell the vanilla. Actually, that might be because I drank about 3 cups of heated rhubarb juice with vanilla extract, which is my new favorite winter drink, while I was building this. So I'm gonna take that back. Except, let me know if you can also smell the vanilla watching this. Then maybe it's a universal thing. One thing I'm gonna have to say is I'm slightly bothered by how dark and desaturated this wallpaper looks. I'm not entirely sure if it's the reshade. This is actually a very, very dark blue. Maybe I'm also wrong about this and it's just black, but it's supposed to be very dark blue. Although it does look very pretty either way. Like I don't care too much. It has this almost regal feeling to it, in combination with the gold accents. I really enjoy that. By the way, if you're wondering about that open window, I was thinking that you could order from there, from outside through that window, if you just wanted something to go, or sit down on that downstairs outdoor space that's basically on the street. Or you could go inside and order something that maybe takes a little longer. That's not just something they can grab from the pastry platter. Maybe if you wanted to grab a hot chocolate or something, maybe you wanted to sit down inside or on that rooftop area. I'm actually not sure if I've built that yet. I don't think I have. Sorry about that. But there's a area where you can sit down on the rooftop of the bookstore. Although I imagine that place would be pretty sought after. Like, you probably have to get up early to get a chair on the rooftop because it's really pretty. Although once you're there, you could probably stay all day. This is not the type of cafe. I don't know if you've ever been to a place like that. Probably. I feel like restaurants do it even more than cafes, but sometimes cafes in big cities do that, where they make you feel bad for staying there as soon as you've taken the last sip of your drink, and a waiter will stand right next to you and give you looks like, "You planning on leaving soon, darling?" They don't even have to do that, actually. Sometimes it's just the atmosphere. But yeah, this place is not like that. As you can tell, it has lots and lots and lots of chairs and tables, places to sit. Definitely way more than any venue in The Sims will ever actually have people to fill those chairs. So no worries about that. You are gonna be able to stay up there and sit in the sun or under the parasol in the shade if you prefer that, and read your book that you've borrowed from the old man next door until they close. Although I'm kind of thinking that they do not close. Or maybe they have official closing times, but they don't close as long as people are still there. And then this would probably be a hotspot for drunk people or just people who like to go out at night and take a stroll through Brightchester. And then it would just never close because there'd always be someone there because it's a really lovely place. But, and that is very important, the waiters do not have to stay ever. Actually, I'm thinking that the manager always tells them to go home, but they just love it so much. And they love the people that come at night, and it's a lovely atmosphere, and maybe somebody takes a nap on one of those couches up here. So everybody loves working here, and it's not stressful at all, and they get paid lots. Also, look how brave I am mixing that stripe pattern with the pattern of the tiles. Woo! I am thinking of maybe taking a week off. So you might want to prepare yourself for going an extra week without a new Honeybella video. Obviously, my older videos have great rewatch qualities, so I would recommend those if you haven't seen them yet. But yeah, I don't personally celebrate Christmas, but lots of people around me do, so I've been invited to quite a few activities, and I got slightly burned out during this build, so I think I might just give myself 1 week off to recharge. And I already know what I'm gonna build the week after, and I'm looking forward to having some time to actually look forward to that. So yeah, I'll still see you soon. Thank you so much for spending these 20 minutes of your day with me, and bye bye. I love you.